CC9, and that means particular things. So while avoiding notes, preferably no notes, yes, I am just placing cause of pressure on his head. He should cause us to adapt a viewpoint or ideas or take some sort of action. At the same time, he should be able to analyze our interests and appeal to them. Now, he is expected to use logic and emotion to support his position. And word of advice to him, please ensure your logic is not abstruse. Now, as he continues to do this, he should organize his thoughts carefully and choose words that will be able to power his message. Again, avoiding words, of course, that are abstruse. If he so wishes, he could as well use visual aids to add to his message. Well, that is something I'll be watching to see whether he does or doesn't. Oh well, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Calvin Sol.
Cut him loose, please. Cut him loose. On the 4th of this month, my entire apartment was woken up by the screams of a lady, begging someone, anyone, to release her boyfriend from the rope that took his life. He had taken his own life right in front of her. Toastmasters, this was a young man, a young person, like you and like me. I bet he had dreams of one day traveling the world and seeing all the beauty, raising a family, having an impact in our community. But his life was blown out like a candle flame in a windstorm. Poof! Just like that. Another victim of suicide. I remember that day I was between disbelief and extreme sadness. I did not want to believe it because death knocked next to my door. I knew him. I was also sad, not only for myself, but for all the young people in this country. I thought, who is next? Is it you? Or is it me? Suicide is a pandemic. According to the World Health Organization, 1,408 Kenyans take their own lives every single day. That is 4 people every single day. 1,408 every single year. So 4 people every single day. You can imagine. As a matter of fact, suicide is a leading cause of death between people the ages of 15 to 29. That is our age group. That is us. And suicide is usually attributed to loneliness, depression, financial hardships, alcohol and substance abuse. And I know we try to create mental health awareness, offer counseling services, but are we really treating the symptoms, or are those the root causes? What really drives us into depression and substance abuse? Last year, around September, in a press statement, Dr. Bernard Bongasa, this is the CEO of Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, he stated that the root causes of suicide, at least in our country, were 1, poverty, 2, discrimination, and 3, lack of empowerment opportunities, especially for young people. So these are the issues that we're supposed to be solving to alleviate this monstrous pandemic that is here with us. In his book, Malcolm Gladwell the book is Outliers, he talks about a community called Roseto. Roseto was a community with no alcoholism, no substance abuse. There was very little crime, and as a consequence, there was no suicide in this community. In Roseto, the rich did not, flaunt their wealth, show off. No, they created opportunities for the less fortunate so that they can also improve their livelihoods. This was a community that people genuinely cared for each other. And my question to us today is, why don't we create our own Roseto? Why? So, ladies and gentlemen, I've shared with you the causes of suicide and some of the ways we can combat this pandemic that is here with us. And my plight to you today is create a warm, welcoming, social space around you. Care for each other. Say hi to your friends. Genuinely care for each other. And to our leaders, if you're a leader in this place, let us establish civic organizations in each and every neighborhood to care for people's welfare. Let us create empowerment opportunities, especially for the young people, so that they can live up to their dreams and achieve their goals and live a happy and a life that is best for them. Our lives are at stake. Let us create our own Roseto. Back to you, Toastmasters.
So ladies and gentlemen, you're looking lovely today. This is a wonderful, wonderful day to see all of you smiling at me. Keep smiling at me, that encourages me. So the speech today title was, Kevin Solo gave us the speech, A Candle Flame in a Windstorm. And one of the things that he was supposed to do was avoid the use of notes. He was presenting a CC9 and he was supposed to avoid the use of notes. You'll notice in a number of speeches we're allowed to use notes, but in this particular one, he was supposed to avoid the use of notes and still successfully achieve the quality of calling us into an action. He was supposed to use logic and emotion to achieve this, and he was obviously encouraged, as with all speeches, to use a number of stylistic devices. So here are some of the things I saw. I did see the use of similes, for example, when he says, when he speaks of a candle flame in a windstorm, he doesn't just say a candle flame in a windstorm, but he describes something, then says like a candle flame like a candle flame in a windstorm. So that is indeed a simile right there. We also see him giving us a number of statistics and information, tells us how we are aware that people between the ages of 15 to 29 are actually depressed, lonely, and are committing suicide. Tells us how 4 people a day in Kenya are committing suicide. Then he takes us to the place in the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, where he tells us of this place called Rosé, and then he tells us to create our own Rosette. And that is the call to action that he is giving us. Then he tells each one of us to take action, to care for each other. He calls leaders to establish civic organizations and care for people's welfare. So, going by the objectives that he was supposed to meet, did he call us to some action? Yes, he did. Was he able to use logic and emotion? Testimony from right here, right off the stage. Somebody said, indeed, at some point I had to hold back my tears. Evidence of the fact that indeed emotion was evoked. So, was the objective of emotion and logic both achieved? In my opinion, I'd say yes. The one thing I would ask that be done better in future speeches was is perhaps more projection, so that he's much louder. Or maybe I say that because I'm too loud. But I wish he could be much louder. We could all hear everything. I want to think the people at the back could also hear everything. But I wish that he is much louder than he was. Basically, that is the main thing. So, on to the question. Do we think he should actually move to the next speech? Or should he do this one again? Well, this speech was definitely not abstruse. So, should he? Okay, yes, he should actually.